I'm looking at the submit payment button on my laptop screen. It says $10. Just $10. My finger is hovering over the mouse, and honestly, I feel ridiculous. I have thousands of dollars in debt, and I'm sitting here debating a $10 payment like it's a life-altering decision. It feels insignificant. It feels almost like a joke compared to the mountain I have to climb. But I clicked it anyway. This is my real-time journey, not expert advice. Here is exactly what happened. To be real with you, the hardest part of this week wasn't finding the money. It was fighting the ego. I've spent the last 3 nights staring at my spreadsheet looking at that total debt number. It's sitting right around 37,850 and feeling totally crushed. When you look at a number that big hovering near 40 grand, typing in 1 Xerox 0 feels pathetic. It feels like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. I almost didn't make the payment. I almost waited until I had $100 or $200 so it would actually count. That's the trap I always fall into. The all or nothing trap. If I can't pay off a huge chunk that looks impressive on a screenshot, I pay nothing at all. And then the interest hits, and I actually go backward. So this time, I forced myself to sit in the discomfort of being small. I forced myself to accept that my current reality isn't glamorous. I logged into the credit card portal. The balance was staring back at me. It's intimidating. It's suffocating. My brain was screaming, this won't make a dent. Why bother? Just buy a pizza instead. It'll feel better. But that's the secret I'm learning, isn't it? That's the 1% mindset I'm desperately trying to build. It's not about the dent in the balance yet. It's about the dent in my behavior. I clicked submit. The confirmation screen popped up. Thank you for your payment. There was no confetti, no applause, just a quiet digital acknowledgement that I showed up. And weirdly, once the shame of the small number faded, something else settled in. Relief. A tiny bit of control. For the first time in months, I wasn't hiding from the number. I was attacking it, even if it was just with a $10 bill. But that $10 was only one part of the equation this week. Because while I was sending money out to debt, I was frantically trying to keep something in for emergencies. And that brings me to the other side of the ledger. The savings side. Or as I've been calling it for the last 3 years, the void. Because here's the trap I've been living in. I pay off a little debt, I feel good, something breaks, a car part, a tooth, a phone screen, and because I have zero cash, I swipe the card again. The balance goes back up. I feel defeated. I give up for 3 months. Rinse and repeat. It's a cycle of misery. I realized that if I wanted that $10 payment to actually mean something, I needed to stop the bleeding. I needed an emergency fund, but looking at my budget, there was no extra money to start one. I didn't have a magical surplus, so I had to get creative. I had to scavenge. I set a target that felt laughable but achievable. $75, that's it. I wasn't trying to save 3 months of expenses. I just wanted to see if I could find $75 in my own life that I had been overlooking. Here is exactly how I scraped it together. And I'm going to be honest, it wasn't glamorous. It was messy. First, I looked at my physical stuff. I have a habit of buying things I might use. I found a specialized notebook, one of those fancy leather-bound productivity planners, still in the shrink wrap. I bought it 4 months ago thinking it would fix my life. It didn't. It just sat there collecting dust and guilt. I took it back. I actually drove to the store, stood in line, and did the walk of shame to the return counter. The clerk didn't care, but I felt like I was admitting defeat. But when she handed me the receipt, that was $22, $50 back in my pocket. Next, I rated the digital couch cushions. I have a habit of leaving money in apps. I checked my coffee app, my fast food apps, and those random cashback sites I signed up for years ago. I found $8 sitting in a rewards account I hadn't touched since 2023. I cashed it out. It took 3 days to hit my bank, but that was 8 point was well, sort of free money. Then I did something that hurt a little. I canceled a subscription I actually use. It was a streaming service I watch maybe once a week. It costs $14.99 a month. I told myself, I can resubscribe when I'm debt-free. Right now, this is a luxury I can't afford. I canceled it effective immediately and transferred the equivalent cash from my checking to my savings. That was $15,000. We were at $40.50. I needed almost $30 more. I looked around my apartment again. I saw a jacket I hadn't worn in 2 winters. It wasn't fancy, just a decent coat. I took a terrible photo of it, put it on a local marketplace app for $30, and prayed. 2 days later, a guy messaged me. We met in a grocery store parking lot. It was raining. It felt incredibly awkward handing over my old clothes to a stranger for cash. I felt like I was at rock bottom. But he handed me 3 $10 bills. $30 total scavenged, $75.50. I took that cash, the crumpled tens, the digital transfer, the refund money, and I moved it into a separate high-yield savings account. I named the account The Shield. When I looked at the balance, it didn't say 0 was zeroed anymore. It said $75.50. I can't explain the shift in my chest when I saw that number. $75 is nothing in the grand scheme of the economy. It won't buy a new transmission if my car blows up. But it's enough for a tank of gas. It's enough for a copay at the doctor. For the first time, if a tiny emergency happens tomorrow, I don't have to use the credit card. I broke the cycle. I sat there staring at the app, realizing that I didn't earn this money by working overtime. I found it by valuing my financial peace more than a leather notebook or an old jacket. It was ugly work. It was tedious. But looking at that $75 sitting there, safe and sound, it felt like $1 million. So why does this matter? Why spend a whole video talking about a meager $10 payment and selling a used jacket in the rain? Because for years I believed that to fix a big problem, I needed a big solution. I thought that because my debt was massive, my payments had to be massive. And because I couldn't make massive payments, I made none. I was paralyzed by the scale of my own mess. But looking at these two numbers, the $10 sent to the credit card company and the $75 sitting in my new Shield account, I realized that momentum is just a snowball. And snowballs start small. They have to. If you try to roll a boulder uphill immediately, you get crushed. But a pebble? A handful of snow? You can move that. This week wasn't about the math. Mathematically, I barely scratched the surface. The interest will probably eat that $10 of payment by Tuesday. But behaviorally, this week was a landslide. I proved to myself that I am capable of scraping. I proved that I can sacrifice a luxury for security. And most importantly, I proved that I can look the monster in the face and throw a pebble at it without flinching. My 1% lesson this week is simple. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. The system I am building isn't about hitting a home run. It's about getting on base. Next week, I'm going to try to pay $12. Maybe I'll find another $5 for the emergency fund. I don't know yet. But I do know that the paralysis is broken. I'm moving. And even if I'm moving at 1 mile per hour, I'm finally going in the right direction. We are in this together, and if you are staring at a mountain today, just look for one loose rock you can move. Just one. My 1% mission for tomorrow, it's just to move $1 from checking to savings. That's it, just $1. What's your 1% step? Will you cancel one $5 subscription? Let's share our small wins in the comments below. I am not a financial expert or advisor. This content is for documenting my personal journey and for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions.